dramatic entrance. Welcome to Conversations with Ladies Who Launch. I am Anthea Cutler, your mindset coach for women in business, and today I have so much pleasure in introducing you to Tina Harris. So thank you so much for being here, Tina.
Oh, thanks for having me, Anthea. I'm super excited. This is the highlight of my day today. It's beautiful.
I know, and this is totally why I started this thing, because I love chatting to women in business and having the conversations that inspire others to do it the imperfect way, etc., etc., etc. So it's my absolute pleasure to have you here. Tina I've got my notes here, from Lala's Big Live Band, and I saw Tina present at the Oz Mumpreneurs. I can't really remember the year. I think it was 2019. And I just love her. I love her, and I've never told you this, Tina, but I've since introduced my darling 5-year-old daughter to Lala's Big Life Band, and she loves you too.
That's lovely, honey. The feeling's very mutual. Thank you.
But Tina is not just Lala from Lala's Big Live Band. She's also a beautiful business strategist and visual strategist.
Yeah.
And you teach people to grow their business through visual and creative strategies. And I love that.
Yeah, look, I have to say, it's something I really fell into. I had no plans of having a grown-up profession, which is kind of what I call it. But I guess all of those years of making TV and video, and we were doing large-scale touring productions. We travel to every state around Australia, and be performing to like 30,000 kids across the country. So there's a whole lot of stuff you learn on the road about making merchandise and selling tickets and customer service and all that thing. And I think because the act was so high profile, so many mums in business, in particular, women in business, would come to me and say, hey, look, this is what I'm doing. I would really love some help. Do you have some time to have a chat to me about my business and what I'm doing? And that's kind of how it started. Uh, I really feel like I fell into this line of work.
I love it so much. I love it so much. So if you're here and watching, if you have any questions for Tina, please let them rip. We have Tina for however long. We don't even know how long it's going to go for. But this is going to be a super juicy conversation to kind of get the behind the scenes from Tina and any kind of wins that she's had along the way. And if you're watching back on the replay, #replay and pop in your questions, because I'm sure Tina would be more than happy to come back and chat to you in here. Absolutely. I've got some questions for you, Tina.
Yeah,
and the first one is, obviously we're talking about your business here as business strategist, as visual strategist. How would you love for people to talk about you, for your ideal clients? Like if you're like walking into a room and you hear someone talking about you, how would you love to find them talking about you? What would you love to hear them saying?
Oh, look, I think really I'm a mentor. I'm someone who loves working with people and helping them grow their business, and especially online businesses. I think after being in an industry for years where we were generating massive cash flow, we had these huge years of income, but we also had huge years of, the bills, the costs going out was so high, and the profit margin was so small that you found yourself living in this really strange kind of, on this treadmill of money in, money out, and there really wasn't a lot of cream. And so what I love about having an online business now is that it's all profit. So we really have, now this is something that Mark and I joke about all the time, is that now the income that we earn is actually income that we keep. And that's something I love helping people kind of figure out. And the majority of the work that we're doing now is with video and video production. So really helping people make those online courses, make those membership sites, really give their YouTube channels a kick up the bum and get them working. Because YouTube is this crazy way that you can just go and reach people, and video is everywhere. Video is social media. It's, it's just taking over the world. And I think if people don't jump on the video train, they're actually going to be left behind. So that's something that we really love helping people do.
So cool. And I love, like, I was introduced to Zoom, for instance, through my online business, and the people around me in my social networks who didn't know about my business so much, you know, they wouldn't have had any idea what Zoom was. And now it's like COVID has entered this Zoom world where video is
Absolutely.
even more prolific than it was before.
And there's
Yeah.
so much you can do with Zoom. Like, and for, I think I really love learning. So I'm always kind of, Googling different ways that you can use these different applications. And for anyone using Zoom, when you actually go into the Zoom window, if you look at, there's a beta version that you can actually use now for cards behind you. So you can do a virtual presentation in Zoom and it is slick, it looks great, especially if you've got a green screen and you can key yourself out instantly. All you need is a couple of good lights, a green screen, and you're good to go. It's really, I think it's opened up the online business world, and especially in the work that we do, I think it's really opened up the industry to us in a great way.
So cool. So my next question is normally around why do you start your business, but you kind of already told us that. So what's your why in business? Like, what do you love about having a business? Why do you do it?
Look, I'm like so many people watching today. I'm tired with the entrepreneurial thing. Like, I've been doing it ever since I was a kid. I remember when I was at the conservatorium, I had a little side hustle. I would go up, there was a gig book at the front desk at the conservatorium, and musicians can't organise their way out of a paper bag. So I would go and I would look at what gigs were in there, and then I would go off and book all the musicians and take a cut on top. I've been doing it for years and years, and I think I'm a terrible employee. I'm one of those people that just needs to work and run my own business. And I think what I love is really helping people. And so it is that thing as you get older, and I can say this because I'm getting older, finding work that really ties your passion with, solving someone's problem and seeing their result, their solution come to life. I love that, and it really fires me up. And I think I get as much joy out of watching, my students and my clients succeed as I do in my own work. When I see their wins, it's wonderful. And I think Mark and I do work with Mark. Mark is Buzz the band leader for anyone who's a Lala follower. He's also,
I can see everyone's going to be Googling now if they don't know you.
he's my tech geek. There's nothing Mark doesn't love about a camera or a microphone or lights. And this has just been the perfect marriage between the stuff that I love, which is strategy, and I'm all color and movement, and Mark's Mr. Technical Detail. And so we've found something that works beautifully, and that we can both do together, which I'm really happy about.
That's so nice. So lucky to have such a good mix.
Yeah,
So
everyone has a tech geek in their life, I think.
And so when you launched this part of the business, like I love to show people like what it looks like in the beginning and what it looks like now, because I think people often think that what it looks like now, it started off like that, and it's so often not the case.
Yeah, and I know, people get really impatient on their journey, and they look at somebody who's doing well and they're like, I need that now. And what's really interesting is as you start to talk to people who have been doing this for many, many years, they're looking at the next person up, and they're looking at the next person up. So there's no such thing as you do it, you have this massive launch and all of a sudden you're there. You're always trying to improve your ROI. You're always trying to get that next jump on it. But look, I'm a big believer in running a beta program. When we first started, I had the idea for Courage on Camera, which is our signature program, and I said to Mark, this is I can see women in business, they're all making online courses, they're all making these membership sites, they need help to make more professional videos. We make professional videos, we know how to do it.
Yeah.
Just need to put these two things together and make something really easy for them to follow, to find a process that they can kind of, go from A to B. And Mark is the big nanny naysayer. He always Mark. I will give him an idea and he'll be like, "Oh no, that's not going to work." I'm like, "Babe, you've got it. This is seriously. This is going to do it." And he was not remotely interested. And I said, "Okay, what if we run a really small course first? We build it and see if people want to come along and buy it. What do you reckon?" And he was marginally open to that idea. So we went off and we actually made a tiny course. Now, a tiny course I like to call something that costs less than $200. So we made a little baby course, which was called Introduction to Courage on Camera. And it was a really useful program. It had lots of videos in it, and it really helped people who were making videos for social media.
Mhm.
It went really well and it sold really well. And we went, we think the mastermind, which is going to have a higher ticket price and make more of an impact on our family. And this is kind of like just as we're starting to go into pre-COVID. So we went off and we filmed it. And I had no, so here's the thing. In Lala, I have a massive mailing list. I have 12 years of, you know, emails and social media following, and here we are and we're starting from
Famous,
scratch.
famous.
Yeah, but we're starting in a grown-up industry. Zero mailing list, zero social media. When I started, I think I had 200 followers on my Instagram. Like, it was nothing. And I'm like, how are we actually going to market this thing and sell it and get a beta program out there? So I went out on all the Facebook groups I was in and just said, look, I'm thinking about running this beta program. Who would be interested? And before the week's end, I think we had 10 people signed up to the beta program. 10 might have been 15 actually to the beta program, and it was half price, so we were charging it out. I think it was only $1,500 to come into it, and it was a 12-week program, really high touch points. We were doing 2 mentoring sessions a week, so there was one with me and one with Mark.
Mhm.
And I mention that because it's too much. I now know, a couple of
Yeah.
years later, that's way too much mentoring. That doesn't give anyone time enough to like do the mentoring sessions
Do
and then
anything.
course. We gave too much value. It was terrible. Anyway, that first beta group went through and had such great results. They loved it. And they were really tight. They formed this beautiful community in themselves, and they started helping each other. They started working together. One of our students, he went viral with his own video. I think he got 11 million views overnight when he, followed the method and did the steps.
Yeah.
Um, and so Mark then became the biggest champion and was like, "Oh my goodness, this is amazing. We need to do more of this." And then we started doing bigger launches. And the bigger the launch, the more it doubled every time we started doing the launch. So where we are now is, I know that we can go out and do a launch, and the next big one that we'll do will be in February next year. I've got the peace of mind that I know how it's going to work. I have a goal, an estimate of how many people I want to come through the program, how we can manage it, how we can run it. And so I really think running a beta program is the key, especially if you're starting out with something new.
I love that so much. I just launched my Mindset Magic membership at the end of last year, beta, and built it to what people needed in there. And I agree with you. I think beta is the way to go. Like, it's completely different to the way that I thought I would run it, because I was
Was
basing
that
it
before you launched? Like, did you tweak it after the launch? Was it like as a result of the people who came through the program?
yeah.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I
Yeah.
think I think that's actually how you make a course that's actually going to get the results, is running that beta program and really seeing how people respond to the materials.
Yeah. And I thought I knew what people needed, but they were actually telling me that it needed something different. So I did it more like build on the run.
Yeah.
But yeah, but both beta styles, like, you're still responding to your market
And
essentially.
then when will you run that program next again?
So it's constant. It's a membership, and I'm launching it again now. Yeah.
Fantastic. I love it.
Yeah.
That's
But I
great.
just love the idea of beta. I love how beta works
Oh,
because
absolutely. Like I think it is, it's invigorating because you see how people respond to your work. And it's, look, we all have imposter syndrome. Everybody's got it. You know, it doesn't matter how successful you are. And having that proof of concept
mm,
means that you can really throw yourself out there and give it your all.
yeah, absolutely. Because you kind of build your confidence through the process.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I always like with it's like any limiting beliefs or any mindset block. Like, yes, we can clear imposter syndrome, but it's never going to be gone completely. Like, wait till you get to the next level, love.
You know,
Yeah.
it's really interesting because here we were, like, if we backtrack to when we first started this, when we made the baby course, the tiny one, I had been in front of the camera for 12 years. Like, but I'd been a character in front of the camera. And when I had to be me in front of the camera,
Oh.
it was so confronting. And
Mhm.
I remember saying to Mark, why am I so worried about this? What is it? You know, and things like I'd never really used an auto cue before and having to do that from scratch. So I really feel now, fast track now to where we are, all the things that my students are going through, I've actually done that. So I I can actually go, yeah, I know exactly what you're saying. Just pull the words in so that you're not scanning across the auto cue. Make them skinnier. Look straight at the camera.
Yeah.
Um, all of these little tips and tricks are, you know, are really relevant for right now, which is really good.
Absolutely. And I love that you mentioned that because it's, sometimes we talk about confidence and people will say, oh, but I'm quite a confident person. And I've always been quite a confident person. But it's like owning you as the brand is like a whole new level of
It is. It's
confidence.
crazy. Absolutely. But
Yeah.
you know, I think going back to what you were saying before about, you know, always looking at people who are, you know, the next echelon up or in that,
Mm,
you don't have to get there straight away. You can take baby steps. And I think sometimes we really need to be kind to ourselves and just,
absolutely.
you know, give ourselves some breathing space so that we can do, you know, what we want to do.
Absolutely. Oh, being kind to ourselves, like I think that's number one lesson. Yeah, cool. And so I love to help women in business model out the easy bits and also kind of skip some of the challenges that we face. I mean, there's always going to be your own challenges, but if you think about ease in your business, like are there a couple of things that spring to mind that have helped you, either strategy or mindset, or it doesn't really matter, but things that have allowed you to achieve that ease in business?
Yeah, people used to ask me how I get so much energy, and I always used to say it's coffee in the morning and red wine at night and chocolate in the middle. And I still kind of like run like that. But I guess I couldn't live without Canva. That is I do everything in Canva. Um,
Mm,
it's just, it really is. And I've even got Mark, who is a Photoshop person. I've finally got him on it too because it's just, you know, you can just plan your life in Canva and it's just off you go.
mm,
Um, I think, oh, look, I think setting up business systems, and that is such a kind of like a crap thing to say because it's such a cop out. Do you know what I mean? But there is, I think, and because we're trying to keep two businesses going, we've got, you know, the Courage on Camera stuff, which is our grown up stuff, and we still have Lala still operates and does a lot of work online and has a membership site and all of that. So we run our life in blocks.
mm,
And we've just come out of a shooting block. So on Friday, I had the whole band in. We did a whole band shoot on green screen. And Saturday, we gave ourselves a day off. And then Sunday, Mark and I, we basically shot out an entire Christmas show, which is going off and online. And I know that once that stuff is in the can, um, we can then do the processes that needs to happen. I think a lot of people, and this is something that we come up against all the time when people say, I want to make more video, but I don't know how to do it. Like I don't know where to start. And I think the planning, the actual giving yourself time to sit down
mm,
and plan out what you want to make before you grab your phone or your camera and press go and go, oh, I'm stuck. Exactly. And it doesn't matter if you're making content for social media, if you're making it for your YouTube channel, if you're making it for a membership site, actually really having a plan, a content plan. The pre-production is really where it's all at. And when you know what you're going to do, when you're super organized, you press go on a camera and off you go. So I think, yeah, we're we're musicians, so we're really unorganized at the best of time. But having that plan, it has been the lifesaver with us and our business.
Yeah, that is such a cracking point, because the number of times I haven't done my content video for the week is because I'm like, "No, I don't know what I'm going to talk about." And it's not that I don't have anything to talk about, it's that I've got too much to talk about.
Exactly. But it's
I
that's
can't
actually
do-
gold
Yeah,
though, you know, like when you've got too many ideas, is that actually 5 videos?
yeah,
You know,
yeah, exactly.
and I think that's it's often the problem when I see people doing live streams on socials, is that they've pressed go on the camera and they don't actually have any talking points before they start, and they just rabbit on, and 20 minutes later no one's going to be watching. So you're better off, if you're going to go live with something like that, to have some really clean talking points that you actually just
Mm,
really want to chat about.
yeah, absolutely. And then you can still be spontaneous and riff off that, but you've got like that structure to come back to. Yeah.
Structure, yeah, it's always, if you've got a structure, you've got something to really kind of like hang all of your content on.
Mm, mm, so good. So good. So, what about your challenging times? Can you talk us through some of your challenging times and what has got you through?
Oh gosh, we've had so many. Like, I mean, I think we were talking a bit before in the pre-show, you know, I turned 50 next year. And so I'm doing that thing that you do when you get to the decade, where you look back on the last 10 years and you go, "Oh wow, look what we did," and "Wow, that was busy." Um yeah, the last kind of period for us has been really kind of a mixture of me with a lot of health issues, which kind of started off at the beginning of Lala. And that was really challenging because I got diagnosed with breast cancer right at the time that we had launched Lala and we had our first contract with Nickelodeon. And we were just about to open at the Sydney Festival and do this massive show at the Sydney Opera House. And so all of that was kind of mixed up in that period. So I think that challenge was one of those things where you kind of balance, you know, kids, family, goals. But yeah, that was probably a biggie for me. And then COVID's really been, it's been kind of like, it's been, I have to say, it's been a blessing. I mean, in a sense, we lost our business during COVID. So we had a business that was pretty much cracking $1 million a year, and it stopped. 97% of our business stopped, the income stopped. And I think it was the best thing that could have happened to us, because we had been talking and I, you know, for years about how do we get more online, how do we, you know, stop this merry-go-round that we're on with, you know, income, cost. How do
Mm,
we flip the business? And I guess COVID actually gave us the opportunity to do that. And we were really fortunate that we'd done some downsizing before everything happened, and we had everything set up. So we were, because we'd just come out of a TV series, we
mm,
were paying ourselves a salary. We had all of our tax all sorted out. All the business structures were there. So, you know, that's a big tip for anyone who doesn't have a good accountant and have all of that stuff sorted out. It's really, really important to do that. Because then when COVID hit, we knew exactly what was going on. We could do a massive pivot and a big restructure. And I'm really happy to say it's worked out incredibly well for us. And it is the future of what we will be doing with our business. And now it puts us in a beautiful, you know, I'm so grateful that we're able to help so many other people who are in similar positions to really kind of navigate it and flip it and say, look, it is really possible for you to go out there and start earning decent income with massive profits right now. And I think it's it is a wonderful opportunity for people right now to really kind of get their businesses online, grow their audiences, and really set up the business and lives they've kind of, been talking about but actually haven't done.
Mm. Oh, that is just the most inspiring story. Thank you for sharing with us. No, seriously, like, yeah, I think COVID is just like this weird mishmash of sometimes it's really friggin' hard and that's okay. And then other times there are just these blessings of like, okay, now I'm really designing the business that I want.
Exactly. And I think sometimes adversity and problems, when they come up in your business, they're actually not a bad thing, because often the solution that you find is actually going to be much better for you in the long run. And every time something majorly dramatic has happened, we've actually found workarounds or solutions that we look back and go, wow, I wish that had happened, years earlier. Imagine, what would be happening now. So I think it's actually for anyone who's in a spot right now where they're looking at it going, I just don't know what to do.
Mm,
Don't worry, there is a solution and it's just there for you.
mm, absolutely. Yeah, it's almost like you just need to have a little bit of perspective and then you'll be able to see it.
Absolutely. And I think perspective is really everything. I've had a couple of, you know, for some reason, I don't like New Year's resolutions. I find like trying to figure out everything you want to do in January, it just seems so kind of blah. And it starts the year off with the wrong kind of like feeling for me. So I like to try and do it earlier. So, kind of November, December, figure out and really plan, or even earlier, what the strategy is for the next year or 2 years. I can't remember why I was telling you this now.
Hashtag Lura.
Hashtag Lura, yeah. So I am actually running away this afternoon to try and get some perspective. So for the next couple of years. So my mother-in-law, who's gorgeous and has a lovely house in Lura, is going away. So I'm house sitting for her. Her garden does look like a magazine shoot. It's beautiful, so nice. Anyway, no husband, no kids, no dog, and I will be there with all of my books and things all spread out across the table, and I'll just be able to take a little walk around the garden, have a cup of coffee, and just think. And I'm thinking that, yeah, this is something I've been kind of like toying with. I might do this every 2 months. I might book myself an Airbnb just one night or 2 nights and actually just go away and have a little thinking session, because I think that's kind of it's so valuable. And we just, especially us mums in business, we don't give ourselves a break, we don't give ourselves time to. I can do that because my kids are big and smelly now, they're teenagers and they're self-sufficient. I know anyone who's in the trenches with little ones, it's much harder.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm thinking that might be a nice thing to do.
Yeah, big dreams. Doesn't matter if you can't have it yet. It's building it all into the plan, babe. Building it all into the plan.
Totally.
Go
And
for it.
people are so focused on setting goals and then hitting those goals.
Mm,
The goals are not actually about hitting the goals. They're about pushing you further so that you get closer. And, do you know what I mean? So, for example, if I was listening to an awesome podcast this morning, they were talking about setting a goal where you try and increase your sales by 20%. Well, that's lovely. But if you set the goal, you were trying to increase your sales by 50% and you only manage to hit 40%, it's still a big friggin' win.
love that. I love that. And I do a lot of visualization and hypnosis about dreaming for the next year
Ooh.
with people. And in that stuff, I do a lot of like, if you could wave a magic wand, because when I first ask women in business, what are your dreams for next year? There's this like real like, I don't know whether I want to tell you because I might not do it. And I just think if we can allow ourselves the space to really dream and then get some of the way there next year, amazing.
I was doing some mentoring for the Osmompreneur um,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
last year, and I remember there was a couple of ladies I was working with, and one of the questions I asked was, "What's your income goal? What do you actually want to be achieving out of your business?"
Mhm.
And the blank looks I got was really interesting, and I was like, "So what do you like, really tell me, what do you want to make? And they were like, well, I don't know, I don't want to say it, like, I'm like, well, you've got to actually say it before you can go and make it. So let's really figure this out. Let's get a number. Doesn't matter if you don't get the number, let's get the number so you've got somewhere to start heading toward.
Yeah. Yeah. So when I do these hypnosis audios, I go, if you don't tell me, you're not going to get it. Drag it out of them.
Love it. I love it. I did hypnobirthing. It was fabulous. Loved it.
Cool. Yeah.
Good.
I'm a hypno junkie.
Oh, it's awesome.
And a visualization. Everyone's always like, oh, not another visualization out here. But it's so good. It's
I'm
so
a big meditator. I always get up 20 minutes before the kids so that I can actually go and have just 20 minutes of defragging my internal hard drive before I get going for the day.
good. Yeah. So good. So good. So, what did I want to ask you next? Oh, with regards to challenges, like we've definitely heard some beautiful stories about the challenges that you've had in your business. Do you have any go-to recommendations on challenges? Like, say, for instance, for your students when they're going through challenging times, are there any things you find yourself recommending?
Well, I think, and I've got one lady I've been chatting to this week who's going through some stuff. I mean, the analogy I love to use for them is the air hostesses had it right. Smart chicks and blokes. Because the message always is when the oxygen things fall from the top, make
Mm,
sure you put your mask on first before you go and help anyone else. And I think if in a moment of crisis, you need to always look after yourself first. You need to figure out, how can I get through this? How can I look after me before you go and try and fix or help anybody else? And so often we rush to give, we rush to help, and we can't if we're not in a good spot.
I don't know what, like, this is such a good discussion point because I don't know what happens to women in this space. I know I have been there too. And we all know this theory and we're all willing to give this advice to other people. But sometimes we just get so stuck in it and we forget that whole like lesson.
And it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
It took me years to figure out that it was okay to say no. I don't need to go and make everybody else happy. If I know emotionally and physically I'm at max, um, it's okay to say, actually, that dinner arrangement that we were meant to have tonight with like X, Y, and Z and my mother in law and blah, 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 blah. I'm not 120%. So do you mind if we reschedule? And I think, in a way, that's another COVID benefit. Because we didn't socialize at all in COVID, we all got recharged. And then the lockdowns all ended and we all went out and we had dinner with everybody that we possibly could. There's a whole lot of people out there who are feeling really overwhelmed right now. And I think it's all right to kind of go, okay, said hello to everybody I know on planet Earth. Just take a step back.
And it's that COVID, wow, we're open again, combined with Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my goodness, this is a good time to practice protecting our boundaries and
Oh, I know.
yeah,
But here's a question for you. I'd love to know
yeah.
your thoughts on this. So, normally the world slows down leading up to Christmas, and then we're really slow going through January, and we don't really kind of kickstart until February and the kids go back to school. Do you think it'll be the same this year, or do you think we're only going to do a slow down at the station, but we won't actually come to a complete stop because the last year basically was a stop? What do you think?
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a great reminder to everyone that you actually have a choice here, right?
Mm.
Like I think um I don't know. I had an epiphany a couple of years ago. I was like, I've experienced a stressful Christmas and I've experienced a relaxed Christmas. Which one do I want? And I'm gonna intentionally go for that one. And every decision I'm gonna make is gonna be through the lens of, does that make my Christmas easy and fun? Or does that make my Christmas hard and stressful? And I do that for my business, really.
Yeah, that's
Like it's taken a long time to get to that point, but every decision I make is through the lens of
yeah.
this
There's
my
a
life
thing of
partner.
letting go. If you can find a way to let go and just be, happy and calm, then it all works. We're in that crazy situation where all of our grandparents have managed to separate, divorce, and remarry, and so and Mark and I don't have any siblings, so at Christmas time, we've got the grandkids, and there's four sets of grandparents. And so,
But
like,
none of them want to do it all together.
no, so what we've done now, so over the years, we've done all the different variations of like Christmas hopping, where we've gone to everybody. That was hell, we'll never do that again. To the runaway, where I said, right, that's it, we're going to Bali. I hate everybody, we're going to Bali. We did that year, and then the kids felt a little bit left out because there were no grandparents. To
Yeah.
now saying, I'm doing open house, I'm neutral ground. Anybody who wants to come can come. And if you don't want to come, you can get stuffed, and that's totally fine. You won't be judged. But it's open house here, and this is what we're doing. And I have to say, it's lovely.
I love that.
Yeah, it's really interesting. But I had to do all the other different versions till I got to.
Yeah. My sister and I were quite cheeky, and we got both of our families to marry up so that we do weekend on with our family and then weekend off, but
Yeah,
on with our
it's very
husband
clever. I
family.
like that.
And then all of our family members have done the same weekend on and off. But there was this weird transition period where we mixed up our dates, and it was
Oh, no.
very like, what are we gonna do here? But now everybody knows it's weekend on. I mean, year on, year off. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's the ultimate moral for running a good business, isn't it? You plan it, then there's no stress. Nobody has to worry about it. Everybody knows how it's going to work. The system is set up now. You guys are in sync. You know what's going on, and the whole thing runs beautifully. I love that. I think that's
Yeah. But it
fantastic.
was a bit clunky it was a bit clunky getting everyone on board in the beginning, but now it works seamlessly. And I feel like we all, like all parties involved, have a way better experience
Yeah,
because everyone's chilled in that environment and can hang out the next year in the other environment. Like, it's
that's
really cool.
great. That
I
is.
love that. That's so cool. And I love the metaphor of like Christmas, but it's the same in the business.
It is. It's the same. It's the
Yeah.
same. Hey, so can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Was there a tipping point in your business? Like, did you feel like it got to a certain point and then all of a sudden it just went, choom?
It's been more of a roller coaster ride. So yes, there were different things that totally got me to a tipping point. There was getting clearer on my messaging, plus lots of referral stuff. But then I tried to um, but it was definitely the messaging and getting more consistent with my content, etc. But then I tried to scale up without knowing what was working,
Mm.
realizing that a lot of my stuff had come back from referrals. So then it was kind of like a little backwards. And now I'm moving forward with both the messaging, way more structure and strategy around the scaling, plus incorporating the whole referral thing. So there was definitely a period of like, it's working, and then trying to scale that working, but not actually knowing why it was working.
And I think this is something that happens to a lot of people as well, that it's something starts to work and it goes off in that direction, and then it kind of doesn't work and it needs to be tweaked, and then it goes off again, and then it needs to be tweaked again, and it goes off again. And I think a lot of people I work with, they're surprised by that, and I think that's actually okay. And I always try to explain it. It's a little bit like your veggie garden. You get the soil ready and you plant the seeds and it grows, and you do a bit of harvesting, but then sometimes there's some worms, or there's some bugs and things, or things die off and you need to replant things, and you're constantly tending it. And I feel like the business is a little bit like that, that you're constantly in there, helping it out, making it grow, watering it.
Yeah, absolutely. And when I was doing the strategy around scaling up, I felt myself kind of pushing away from the referral
Mm.
basis and the feedback that I was getting, that people were buying off my energy. And I was trying to move away from that because I was trying to create this robotic machine. And now I always say to my women in business, it's okay to sell off your energy. It's okay to show up on a video with not very strategic content, be visible, and for people to go, I love your energy, and so I bought your membership. And I don't really know why. Like I really like, I have a baseline now where I go, if I just show up, I could get someone because they might like my energy. It doesn't really matter if I don't get the exact video or it's my backup.
But that's your connection. Your
Yeah,
connection
it
with
totally is.
work with you, and It's look, I think that's it's been something really interesting also because, you know, previous to COVID, we would all go to conferences or we'd go to networking events or we'd go to things where you would meet people in your community or, you know, have opportunities to work with people. And you would, when you meet someone face to face, you get that connection instantly.
Mm.
So I think that's why showing up, like you said, on Zoom, you know, on lives, being present, especially through video, is so important because people get to get that connection. Yeah, it's really key.
Yeah, and I love it's the beautiful end of being strategic about it. But if you don't have the strategy perfect, it's just showing up anyway because you never know what might happen. Like
Yeah.
it's an and. It doesn't have to be because I think sometimes with strategy, in my experience, people have worked out that they need to niche and they need to message and they need to have a funnel and blah 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 blah, and then they stop being visible because they haven't got all the rest perfect. So I prefer for it to be visible
Mm.
and do all that stuff, and it's just a big work in progress.
Yeah, exactly, exactly.
And we'll see what happens along the way. And over time your strategy obviously improves and then you have launches that you can replicate and all of that. Like the strategy becomes way easier, but don't let the strategy put you off from being visible, you know.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. So I have no idea where I'm. Oh, no, the next question I want to ask you. So we've done challenges. Is there anyone in particular that you would like me to interview to get the behind the scenes on their business? I love asking people this question.
Yeah, yeah, I read that and I went, I have absolutely no idea. I have no idea. I I love hearing people's success stories, and they don't need to be a famous person. They can be anybody, and I love hearing about how people have had wins and you know really taken their business to the next level. I'm attracted at the moment to stories of people who have taken their business from seven-figure businesses to eight-figure businesses. I think that's been a very interesting change in the commentary in the last couple of months in particular that
Mm,
I've noticed and I've seen popping up on different social media and podcasts and things is that the dialogue is changing. You know, originally it used to be about creating a six-figure business, then it was about creating a seven-figure business. Now it's about eight-figure business, and I think
yeah.
that's really interesting because what's happening is online businesses. They are going through this massive expansion, especially people who are running online courses and online memberships. The potential is there, and it's really great to see so many businesses out there doing so well.
Cool. Well, if you think of anyone, please PM me
I
because
will.
I'd love to interview them for you. And if you were running this series, are there any other questions that you would ask people?
Any other
Absolutely.
questions I would ask people?
Like, what do you want to know when you're taught? Like, imagine I've found one of these beautiful people who are going from seven figure to eight figure. What do you want to know?
I want to know what they're watching on Netflix at the moment. Like seriously, I really want to know. Um, yeah, like I think I watched everything during COVID, so I'm ready for something new. I'm hanging out for the new season of The Great, which starts really soon.
Ooh.
Yes. Oh, look, I don't know. I think I'd like to know. Well, as we said, we met at the Oz Mumpreneur conference, and it was a face-to-face thing. So I'm really curious for, and I've met so many amazing clients at Oz Mumpreneur. So
Mm.
I'm really curious, where do you meet your clients? And this is not like going out and doing a like a you know a lead magnet and getting people into your mailing list. I'm actually where have you gone and you've met or made those connections face to face? Because that would be really interesting.
Yeah, and like what's maybe it could even be like what's the most interesting way that you've met your client?
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the exercises I love doing with people who are coming through Courage on Camera is at the very, very beginning, I get them to do an elevator pitch because the elevator pitch is a real thing. And it's happened to me. I was at a TV conference in New York and we were in an elevator and I was standing next to our executive producer and this important person came in and said, "Oh, hello, how are you? You know, nice to see you." And this our EP, very dry sense of humor, said, this is Mark and Tina from Lala. And he looked at us and he went, go. And I went, and so what we learned was you need to have a 30-second elevator pitch on you and your business ready to go like that at a moment's notice. And so that's something that I love to get my students to do, and do it into the camera, and they all pop it up in the closed Facebook group. And it's amazing because in 30 seconds you can get to know a lot about someone, the business that they run, and who they are and what they stand for. So for anyone who's watching and thinking, what's some really cool take-home tips, that would definitely be one of mine today. Write yourself a 30-second elevator pitch.
Love it. So would you, if you were doing this, would you say, what's your elevator pitch?
Yeah, maybe that would be a good one to do. Or, maybe what's your, top 5 tips for any of my listeners to do?
Okay, what's your top 5 tips, Tina?
Oh, my top. Okay, all right. Okay,
so you knew I was going to throw it back at you, didn't you?
Yeah, no. I had 2 coffees. Because I work in video, I would say have a good, like if you're working on Zoom, make sure you've got a good camera. So if your computer doesn't have a good camera in it, go and invest in one. Go and get one of those Logitech cameras that you just kind of like plug in through a USB. So good camera, good sound. Even today, because my computer, I have a little Mac laptop and it's a bit crap. So I've got my little Rode Yeti here. They're only like $90. They're so cheap. And even with your iPhone, make sure you've got a good mic. So one, Rhodes has got a really great one, a lav mic you can plug in. So yeah, good sound, good camera, good lighting. Go and buy a ring light. Look, the things are amazing. Or get a 3-point lighting system off eBay. They're, again, $149. You can get 3 lights with stands, the whole thing on soft boxes. They're really affordable, really easy. And then teach yourself how to start using some editing software. Get off the crappy editing softwares. Get onto Premiere Pro, or have a look at DaVinci, because DaVinci is free for anyone who doesn't want to pay for editing software, and it is an industry software. And there's lots of tutorials on YouTube, or come to us, we'll teach you how to use it. And the last thing is, if you don't have enough time to go and put together really good videos, like to do the editing side of it, learn how to do it first, but then outsource it. So get someone on Upwork to go and do it for you. You don't have to be all things and do, if you don't have enough scope in the time. I've got 2, we are great at editing, but I've got 2 editors that work for us. One's my 18-year-old who's very cheap and does a great, she's at film school, so that's great. The other one is one of our TV editors who we've stayed working with, because he's just so beautiful to work with and we love him to bits. But the key for that stuff is learn how to do it first, because then you speak the language and you can tell them what you want, then outsource it. I think that's the same with everything we do in business. Learn how to do it first yourself, and then if you want to outsource it, outsource it. That would be my 5.
So good. And like, how lucky are we in business to have things like Upwork, where you don't need to have an employee to be able to outsource something. You can outsource a tiny little project. Yeah,
I've done test runs on both Upwork and Fiverr. I am definitely 100% Upwork. I seem to find more of the right kind of people on Upwork than Fiverr. I've had a couple of bad experiences on Fiverr, but for us, it doesn't matter. Like, if you want someone to write your copy, to do your website, to do your editing, to do, we've got some beautiful illustrations and designs from people in Upwork to help you with music backings. You can do anything. It's a great service. It really is.
It's amazing. We're so lucky.
But it is in US dollars, so make sure you do the conversion in your head before you actually do the budget, because you can catch yourself out there.
Yes, which might be okay if the thing that you're paying for is $6 Australian, but if it's 500 or 5,000, you might get stuck. Cool. Oh, thank you so much. They are the best tips. I'm so glad we got there. I don't know how we got there, but
I know, we just end up having this great big gas bag about life and Christmas and
everything. I know. And then Christmas was a metaphor for business. It's just amazing. Thank you so much. You've absolutely lit up my Monday, and I hope that other people have enjoyed this conversation too.
Thank you.
Please, if you have any comments or questions for Tina or myself, feel free to pop them in the comments, because Tina would be more than happy to come back. If you're watching on the replay, #replay. But before we go, Tina, how
Yes.
can people find out more about you, Lala, and what you do?
Well, the usual ports of call. So on Instagram, my Instagram handle, it's a little odd. It is Tina La, all one word. Um, yes.
Not odd. That's perfect.
Why did we set it up like that when I was studying? Anyway, so Tina La on Instagram, that's my business. Lala's Big Live Band is on Instagram and Facebook, and my Facebook is tinaharris.com.au. The website, tinaharris.com.au. Now, you do need to put the .au, otherwise you end up at somebody else's site who doesn't look anything like me, which is quite funny. Anyway, if you ever do that, it's very funny. It's an interesting story there. But if you go to tinaharris.com.au, I've popped up a must-have tech list, which has got everything that you need to know about lights, camera, sound. We've got auto cues on there. We've got, handles to put your phone on so it does the thing. Anything you need to know, it's all up in the must-have tech list, and it's free to download. And we've done it on a small, medium, and large budget. So if you have no dollars, it'll show you how to do that. If you have some dollars, it will show you how to do that. And if you have more, it'll show you how to do that. And I've actually had some students use it to go off. They've been going off and applying for funding, and they've been using the information on there to go off and apply for funding so that they can go and get upgrade their cameras and those sorts of things, which has been really useful for them.
Amazing. And what about your course? Are you in launch of your course right now, or can people join a wait list?
Yeah, we actually have a mentoring program that's opening up in 2 weeks. That's one-to-one mentoring. I don't do that very often. I only run it usually once or twice a year, and I only do it for a really small group of people. Why? When I have businesses like the online courses and things that scale, why do I still do one-to-one? Because I like people. I actually really like working with people one-to-one. So I do it. I do it because it's fun, and I think it's great to have something that clients can really get a lot out of. So I still do that a little bit. So that's opening up in 2 weeks. So if anyone's interested in that, please feel free to message me on social media. I'll get straight back to you, or send me an email. But Courage on Camera, our signature program, kicks off in February next year. And this is going to be a really cool year for Courage on Camera. It's going to be really big. So anyone who's interested in more YouTube, I checked my YouTube. I've got one video this morning. I had a look at it. It's now clocked up 140 million views. It's crazy.
Oh my God.
I know. So that's amazing. So we've got, the bit of a viral formula going on there. So YouTube, online courses, or membership sites. If you're making videos for any of those, come to us. We'll help you sort all of that out.
Oh my goodness. And maybe what we'll do to help anyone who's watching or who watches this back, maybe you can send me a couple of links and I'll attach it to this.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easy.
Yep.
P.S. I love that you called your course Courage on Camera. And do you want to know why?
Why?
Because, well, sometimes when we're doing like confidence, people think that they need to do confidence perfectly, right? They need to feel confident perfectly before they press play on. And obviously we're increasing our confidence over time. But I always like to say that you can choose courage over fear, even if there's fear in the background. So I love that you chose courage. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. No, it was a name that kind of came to us, and just it felt like such a good fit at the time. Yeah, and we loved it. So
yeah,
kind of become our all.
So good. So good. And then along the way you build your confidence, obviously. So good. Thank you so much, Tina. It has been an absolute blast. I have loved our chat so much. We will come back and pop those links in the comments for anyone who wants to check Tina or Lala out. It's just been just so much fun. Thank you so much, Tina. Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.